Hey, my name is Thomas, and today that's going to be a tough one to judge. This is the 7Artisans 25mm f/0.95. It's huge, it's way too heavy, it's got a lot of optical quirks, but it's also beautiful and it's very unique. So let's have a go. This lens was sent to me by 7Artisans. Many thanks for your support so I can shoot this review. Yes, this lens is really big and it's very heavy and very hefty, but it's beautifully made. So kudos for 7Artisans. The finish of this lens feels absolutely fantastic. I love the shine of the black finish here. It has a satin shine to it. I love all these, all these numbers are engraved in two colors and it just feels very, very upmarket. And I also absolutely love this sort of anodized ring. Just a fantastically, beautifully made lens. And I'm sure some people will appreciate it for that. It's just a lens that makes you want to handle it, you know what I mean? It's for the connoisseur in a way. Two things to keep in mind. This is a 7Artisans lens, so there is a clickless aperture. Works very smoothly, but no clicks, and there is no hard stop at infinity. And yes, with a 0.95 lens, it's maybe also hard to incorporate a hard stop at infinity because it's really hard to adjust at this super shallow depth of field. And also keep in mind that maybe these lenses are also made for videographers, and those people really like if there is a clickless aperture. But just saying. Apart from that, the finish, as I said before, is impeccable. And yes, this lens is very, very heavy. So infinity focus is when the 2 sits on this thing here, 2 versus 4, and the actual infinity is a little bit to the right. That's the proper infinity setting on this sample of the lens. If you remember that, you can put it there, 2 against the 4, and then you can shoot landscape shots without focusing. But every of these lenses will differ a little bit. You cannot adjust the focus ring yourself, like on some TT Artisan lenses. But yeah, just remember your settings, and that speeds up the photography for you, makes it easier. One good thing is this lens has got a 13-bladed aperture. It's a piece of beauty in itself. Reminds me of these old Eastern German lenses from the 50s and 60s. And this makes for a super smooth bokeh balls when you stop down a bit. So if the bokeh is too fancy for your taste, at f/0.95 you can go to f1.4 or f2, and it cleans up a bit the bokeh, and still the bokeh balls are kind of rounded. The downside is you don't really get sun stars at night shots. I'm going to show you a few samples, but let's face it, this lens is not made for night photography at f8. That's not what you're going to buy this for. So, beautiful aperture. And when we're at it, do you see this kind of concave? Is it concave? Shape of the front lens element, that's also kind of unique. I like it. Of course, you can shoot stuff like that with open aperture, and it's kind of fun because it gives this very soft, look. Because of all the imperfections, sometimes the shot can turn out really, really well. Normally, you would shoot a motif like that close down to at least f2 or maybe even more for depth of field. But that's not what this lens is about. This lens is about shooting it wide open and experiment a bit. And now we come to the optical performance, and that's gonna be tough to judge because, let's face it, at open aperture this lens is not super sharp. There is a huge fall off to the corners of your frame. There's a lot of chromatic aberrations, color fringing, whatnot else. Technically speaking, not so good. It cleans up very nicely once you stop down, and at f8 you can shoot landscapes and stuff perfectly, so that's good. But how do you judge a lens like that? This is miles away from a modern performance of, let's say, a Sigma 35 1.4 on a full frame camera. Don't compare it. But on the other hand, this is maybe what you're after. So I can see this again, especially for video use, because it gives a very beautiful sort of retro look. It can give, you know, the look that you're looking for, also in terms of the bokeh. But don't expect modern day performance from this lens. Just don't. Time for the brick wall test. And in my opinion, the distortion is one of the most controversial aspects about this lens, because overall it's got this sort of barrel distortion, nothing bad. You can always correct for that, except the outermost corners where stuff goes like in a weird shape outside. It's really curved. And it can ruin a shot sometimes. So this is the one really annoying feature of this lens that I totally did not like. One good thing about this lens is close focus distance, fantastic, 25 centimeters, and that's counting from here, so you get really, really close. You're not going to buy this as a macro lens, but I always very, very much appreciate if lenses, standard lenses, can focus closely. You never know when you want to use that for your photography, right? At f0.95, depth of field is so shallow in these close-up shots that maybe you want to stop down a little bit. But that is not the fault of the lens, of course. Time for the verdict, and yes, there is some good stuff to be found in this lens, because actually, you know what, I enjoy shooting it, but maybe it's weird. It's really not a perfect lens. If you're looking for a 25mm lens for your APS-C mirrorless cameras, they're all not perfect, but let's say the 7Artisan 24 f1.4 or the TT-Artisan 25 f2, those are the go-to lenses. They are not as fast, but they are so much smaller and they're optically also better than this one. But this is a special lens. There is no other 25mm f0.95 for your APS-C mirrorless cameras. This is the only game in town. So if you like something special, then this lens is maybe for you. Have a look at the pictures for yourself that you see in my review, if you like the optical characteristics or not. Again, far from any perfection. You know, I don't want to sell you all the disadvantages and imperfections of this as a feature, but in fact they are, because it creates a certain look that's maybe specific and that you maybe like. And if you do so, then get one. If not, then steer away. That's it. And that's it for today. I hope you found this interesting, maybe even useful. If you did so, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. Thanks for all your support, by the way. If you've got any questions or comments about this lens or anything else photography, write in the comment section below. I love to read all your comments and I will happily answer every single one of them. Takes some time sometimes, though please bear with me. So, have a great time, live long and prosper, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.